Thank you for joining this Newsmax Prime special. Today we're joined by David Horowitz. He's one of America's most influential conservative thinkers and a close friend of President Trump's most senior aides. David Horowitz's new book, Big Agenda, President Trump's Plan to Save America, became an instant #1 Amazon bestseller, and it is now a runaway New York Times bestseller. Mike Reagan says Big Agenda has become the Bible of the new Trump administration. Everyone is talking about it. And Big Agenda has been praised by leading conservatives like Rush Limbaugh, Lou Dobbs, Mike Reagan, and Ann Coulter. All right, welcome back. We're talking to David Horowitz, best-selling author of Big Agenda. And David, you mentioned this a little earlier in the program. We can't talk about your book and Trump without talking about Russia. Now, I don't think you're any fan of Vladimir Putin. President Trump says, though, he can develop a positive working relationship here. Do you see any harm in us developing a positive relationship with Russia?
No, that's exactly what he should be doing. Look, Russia is a thugocracy, so anybody who runs it is going to be a thug, really a bad guy. But Russia is it's a great power. It has national interests. Some of those converge with ours, as in fighting Islamic terrorism. I mean, they have Islamic states right around them. They have the Chechens. You know, who killed all those children in the school. So, of course, we should find ways to work with him. After all, Franklin Roosevelt worked with Stalin to defeat Hitler. So what the Democratic Party is doing is really stupid from a point of view of our national interest. And it's all based on this idiotic idea that Donald Trump would somehow betray this country. The one thing that you know about Donald Trump is that he's an American patriot. That's why he ran in the first place. You know, he had a great life. He was rich. He was famous. Everything he touched practically turned to gold. Why would he subject himself to the vicious attacks that have been made on him, except that he cares about his country?
Well, it's interesting. The media often attacks conservatives as being conspiracy theorists. But they have gone to great lengths to show what President Trump's campaign, in fact, was working with and with the help of the Russians. Now, let me show you a clip from James Clapper, who is President Obama's chief intelligence director, and what he said about the Trump campaign.
Does intelligence exist that can definitively answer the following question, whether there were improper contacts between the Trump campaign and Russian officials?
We did not include any evidence in our report, and I say our, that's NSA, FBI, and CIA with my office, the Director of National Intelligence, that had anything that had any reflection of collusion between members of the Trump campaign and the Russians. There was no evidence of that included in our report.
I understand that, but does it exist?
Not to my knowledge.
It seems pretty obvious to me. It does not exist. If it did, in fact, we'd know about it. So why do we keep hearing the story that, in fact, there is something out there that we don't know anything about when we do, in fact, know that there are lots and lots and lots of Democrats with their own up-to-their-eyeball connections with the Russians?
Because the Democratic Party today is a radical party, and they believe that they have the key to a social justice future, a wonderful future, and they will do anything and say anything in order to defeat their opponents and get to that future. That's what it's about. As I said, this is worse by 100 times than anything McCarthy was ever accused of. Well, McCarthy's victims were communists. Sometimes he exaggerated what they did or didn't do, but they were part of a conspiracy against the United States. Trump is an American patriot. This is pure invention, and it's designed for only one thing, which is to discredit Trump and the Trump administration and cripple them. And the Democrats have made very clear from the outset they want to destroy Donald Trump and the Trump administration. And that's why Americans who care about their country need to get out there and support the Trump administration.
Well, you know, you've been very, very good about predicting what Trump was going to do. You got like a minute left here. What do you think is coming next from President Trump?
Well, he's going to try to do the tax reform, which would be huge. But he's going to just proceed on all these fronts. We know what he's about. It's about bringing companies and money back to America. It's about creating jobs for working Americans. It's about increasing making America secure. When you think of what Obama has done, both at home and abroad, the bloodbath in the Middle East is all on Obama's head. These are the terrible things that Obama is responsible for, but the media, being leftist, has protected him on.
Yeah. No, David, listen, thank you so much for taking the time to visit with us today. We could talk and talk and talk. Very interesting, great book. Thank you. You've been listening to New York Times best-selling author David Horowitz. David is out with his new bestseller, Big Agenda, President Trump's Plan to Save America. It is a runaway New York Times bestseller and the #1 selling book of the Trump presidency. Big Agenda reveals Trump's secret plan to not only roll back Barack Obama's progressive programs, but Horowitz says the president really wants to put the Democratic Party out of business. Big Agenda was also the first to warn that former President Obama would wage a deep state war against President Trump. It's all in Big Agenda. Conservatives like Rush Limbaugh, Ann Coulter, and Dinesh D'Souza are urging Americans to get their own copy of Big Agenda. I urge you to get it as well. Big Agenda is at Amazon and bookstores everywhere, but Newsmax has an incredible free offer. It's a value of over $30 with shipping included. Just call today, check, and go online today.